Hey guys, it's Sarah, and today I have my May book haul. So these are all the books that I purchased or received in the month of May, and I did good this month, guys. I only have 11 books to show. That's pretty low for me. 4 of them I bought, 7 of them I received, and I'm very excited about all of them. All right, so let's start with the books that I received. The first 2 here were sent to me from a very, very sweet subscriber, and she sent me her copies of books that she was done with. She didn't need them anymore, so she offered them to me, and I said yes. And the first one is Breaking Free, How I Escaped Polygamy, the FLDS Cult, and My Father, Warren Jeffs. This is by Rachel Jeffs. So her father is Warren Jeffs, who is now behind bars for being the leader of a polygamist community. And I remember when he was arrested, he actually had been active in Tucson, where I was living at one point. I don't know if it overlapped when I was living there or not. I'm not quite sure. I don't know the timeline, so maybe this will tell me something like that. But I do remember when he was arrested, but he got arrested in Utah, so it wasn't around us. But yeah, so I'm really excited to read this. I'm very interested in these types of stories, and you know, coming from someone who was very much a part of it, obviously, and her father was the leader, so I'm very interested in this. And the second one she sent to me is a Nicholas Sparks book, and that is Every Breath. This is one of his newer releases, I believe, and I am definitely collecting some Nicholas Sparks. I'm trying not to buy too many because I need to read some more before I decide whether or not I want to read all his books or not, but when she offered it to me, I went ahead and took her up on it. Okay, and now I have some review books that I was sent. I have quite a few here, and I'm going to try to go in the order that they are being released. So some of them are coming up very soon. I don't think I'm going to have time to get to all of them before they're released, but I do plan to read them and still have reviews up for them. It'll just be a little bit after the release, but at least I can let you know they're coming out. So the first one is The Tiger Catcher. This is by Paulina Simons. This came to me unsolicited from William Morrow. And I was really excited because I know this author. She wrote the Bronze Horseman trilogy, which I have the first book. I haven't read it yet, but I've heard very good things about that one. This one is the first in a new trilogy that's coming out by her, and I believe they're going to be coming out really quickly. And this is the first installment, and this follows a love story between a boy named Julian and a girl named Josephine. And it's very vague about it, but I believe it's going to be a very tumultuous relationship, but they are very passionately in love, but I think a lot of things try to tear them apart, and they're trying to overcome that. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from it, just from the synopsis. It's very vague, so I guess we'll see. The next one I was contacted about, and I was very excited to agree to read this one, and that is The Summer Country, and this is by Lauren Willig. I have wanted to read something by Lauren Willig for a while now because I have seen her name a lot in historical fiction, and she's actually a historian, so she does a lot of research into all of her books, so I have a feeling I'm going to really enjoy them when I do get to them. This one comes out June 4th, so very quickly here. This takes place on 2 different sugar plantations in Barbados, and it takes place before and after the abolition of slavery. So it's getting kind of the before and the after effects of all of that and how it affects these 2 sugar plantations. And I believe it follows characters who are working there. So I definitely jumped on the chance to read and review this one. Again, I'm not going to have time to read it before June 4th. Unfortunately, I have some other things happening, but in the month of June, I do plan to read this and have a review up for you. And this one was also sent to me by William Morrow. This next one comes out on June 11th, and I'm really excited about this. And this is Natalie Tan's Book of Luck and Fortune by Roselle Lim. Now, this one is going to make me hungry because this follows our main character, Natalie Tan, and she wants to be a chef. Now, her mother has not been very supportive of that decision, and Natalie ends up leaving home and going to study to be a chef away from home, and kind of has a little bit of an estranged relationship from her mother because of all this. One day she learns that her mother has passed away, and she has to go back and kind of settle her affairs, but she goes back to her neighborhood and realizes it's really become pretty run down, and she ends up going to this tea shop that gives her a fortune and kind of guides her into her next steps in life. And I'm really excited to read this. And it's pretty short, so I think I can get through it pretty quickly, but I definitely plan to read and review this in the month of June. And this one was sent to me from Berkeley Books. And this next one, you guys, I'm so excited. All right, so this comes out June 25th. I did request this one, so I was super excited that they granted the request. This was sent to me by Putnam, and this is After the End by Claire McIntosh. I love Claire Mackintosh. I've loved all of her books so far. I'm super excited to read more from her. I do have one other one on my Kindle to read still, and now I have this one, and I just, so good. So this one follows a couple, and their names are Max and Pip, and they are a very strong couple. They're best friends. They go everywhere together. They're very in sync with their lives, and they have a son, and he ends up getting sick. And this really throws a big wrench in their marriage because they do not agree on how to care for him. And they have different things that they want for his care and for his life and everything. So this throws a big wrench in their marriage. Now, this is very interesting because it says for the first time, Max and Pip can't agree. They each want different future for their son. What if they could have both? How? Why? How? I want to know. I want to know. And knowing Claire Mackintosh, there's going to be some sort of twist somewhere. So I cannot wait to read this one. Okay, and this next one, you guys, was actually sent to me unsolicited, but I'm super excited after reading about it and seeing what it's all about. This one doesn't come out until September. It comes out September 24th, so it's gonna, I'll read it more towards the end of the summer, maybe early September, but that is No Judgments. This is by Meg Cabot. Okay, so this one follows a woman. Her name is Bree. And she lives in Manhattan, but she decides she wants to get away for a little bit. And so she goes down to the Florida Keys and she's staying down there. And she's in Florida. So a Category 5 hurricane hits. Why not, right? That happens. We just saw one. And she decides to stay and to ride it out. And she's going to stay there. She has plenty of supplies. She has access to a landline. She's not worried about the storm. But as the storm is hitting her, she's getting more and more worried about things. And she starts realizing that a lot of people are leaving behind their pets. People that had evacuated, they left their pets behind, or there's, stray animals or whatever. And so she decides that she's going to go on a mission to save all these pets. And she kind of sets up her landline to be like a no judgmental zone. Like if you can't take your pet with you or you're not comfortable doing that, bring them here. I'll keep them safe. No judgments type thing. This is actually based off of a true experience that the author had dealing with a hurricane in 2017, not a Category 5, but it was a hurricane, a pretty bad one actually. And so this was like kind of inspired by someone that she met down there who actually did something like this. So I'm super excited to read this. And again, I'll definitely wait until at least July because that's when hurricane season starts in Florida. So I'll read this during hurricane season and have a review up for you guys. But I think this sounds adorable and I can't wait to read it. And this was also sent to me by William Morrow. So thank you. All right, so those are the books that were sent my way, and now I have 4 books that I purchased myself. I did very good, you guys. This first one I got at Sam's because every time I go to Sam's, I look at books. And they're cheap. They're not the cheapest necessarily, but they're a good price. I have no problem paying for them there. Now, the one I picked up is My Dear Hamilton. And this is by Stephanie Dray and Laura Kamoe. And this is a historical fiction based around Eliza, I believe. Eliza Hamilton. So, definitely interested in this. As you guys know, I saw Hamilton in October and just loved it to pieces. It's one of my favorite things ever. So I haven't read anything that's based on it though, or kind of came out of the woodwork because of it. So this is the first one I have, but I'm definitely interested in these authors and what this one's all about. The next one I actually got at a used bookstore. I actually got the next 3 at a used bookstore when I went browsing one day. And this is one that my daughter Kaylin would actually really enjoy too. And that is The Mermaid. And this is by Christina Henry. And this is a retelling of The Little Mermaid. And this involves a mermaid who wants to become a human, and she ends up getting there, and then she ends up joining the circus, like Barnum and Bailey's circus, and she's thinking she'd perform a little bit and then be free, and that's not the case. I believe she's held prisoner at the circus, so that sounds super interesting to me, and you guys know that circus is one of my buzzwords, so when I read the synopsis, I was like, yeah, and then my daughter Kaylin would like this too. And the next one that I got is another historical fiction that I've seen around a lot, and I'm hearing really, really good things about it. And that is A Gentleman in Moscow, and this is by Amor Towles. I haven't read anything by this author, but I've heard very, very good things. So I'm definitely interested in reading this. And I went ahead and picked it up at the used bookstore. I had some credit. So there is a sticker on here that's not coming off very well. So I'm going to use my Goo Gone to get it off. And yeah, so this is taking place in the early 1920s. And I believe it is in Russia. And he ends up kind of getting confined into a certain building for whatever reason. I don't know if he commits a crime or whatever, but I've heard just very, very good things about this, and just people can't put it down. So I grabbed it. Okay, the next one, you guys. Okay. I have been watching Game of Thrones. I started the show. I wanted to watch the show first because the books scare me, and I wasn't sure if I'd be okay with the books. So I started watching the show. I'm now in the middle of season 4, and I'm obsessed. I love it so much. And I have since decided, oh yeah, I'm going to read these books. I definitely am. And I do have the first book, which I hauled a while ago. Actually, I think it was in January or February. I hauled the first book that I got at the same bookstore, and I started flipping through it a little bit after I finished the first season, just so I could kind of see what the writing is like, just to make sure I would be okay to follow the writing. And the writing is totally fine. So I don't know why I'm so intimidated by these, but I think at least seeing the show and having the characters in my head and knowing who belongs where and where everybody is and that kind of thing, I think I'm going to be able to follow the book a lot better. I have plans to buddy read the first book later this summer, so I'm very excited about that. But at the used bookstore, I saw the second book, so I went ahead and picked it up, and it's the same size. It's the big floppy paperback as the first book that I picked up. So I went ahead and grabbed this while I could. It was only $9 for this really big one, and I'm going to start slowly collecting these paperback editions of Game of Thrones, and I'm definitely going to read the books. I do want to finish the series first. I want to watch all 8 seasons, which I will definitely do, and then get into reading the books because I know they are a bit different, but I at least have kind of the foundational background knowledge of the world and the magic and, you know, things like that. So, but yeah, I picked this up and I'm super excited to get started on them. Okay, guys, that is it for my May book haul. Those are all the books I picked up and were sent to me as well. So pretty good. Pretty proud of myself for that one. I'm going to try to have a small one next month as well. Oh man, bookshelf space. Like I haven't even put these on my shelves yet. So we're going to fit those in somewhere. Let me know down below if you guys have read any of these, what your thoughts were. Let me know if you're going to pick up any of the new ones that I talked about that are coming out. I'm super excited for all of them. So I'm excited to read them and get reviews up for you guys soon. And I hope you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.